Hey cabinet makers, Dan here, Bay Custom Cabinets. Today's video is about adjustable shelves, listing them, cutting them, and banding them. So my son will be doing the demonstration. Matthew, he's a longtime journeyman cabinet maker. And we're going to be talking about the layout rod in this video. There will be another segment on that. Again, this isn't really an instructional video. It's just showing you what our cabinet making course will offer in the future. So we use 3/4 maple plywood is what we're using in this video. Alrighty, so I'll be back at the end of the video. All right, see ya.
Hey, so we're going to be listing adjustable shelves off a layout rod. This is for a job that's well underway. It has already been laid out. Layout is complete. And so we're going to be listing the shelves for cabinet number 7 right here. Now they happen to be the same size as cabinet number 8. We try to, when we can, we try to make all the adjustable shelves the same size for less confusion. What we do is we list it the depth of the cabinet, the depth of the shelf by the length of the shelf. So that's how it goes on the layout rod. In this particular cabinet, there will be 2 shelves in each opening. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shelves total. That'll all be the same size. So what I do is, it's for cabinet number 7 and 8, because as I said, they're the same size, and we counted them. There's going to be 8 shelves. There's going to be 8 shelves that are going to be 10 3/4. That's the same depth as the cabinet before it. That's 10 3/4 because my overall cabinet is 12 inches deep. My parts are 11. And my shelves are 1/4 inch less than that. So that makes them 10 3/4. So I just strike a line showing that it's the same size as the one before it. And then the length of the shelf. We get the length of the shelf right here on the layout rod. I've already checked and I know they're all the same size. But there's your partition to your finished end. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's 26.5 is my distance between them. I deduct 1/16, making that 26 7/16. So I will just mark that here by, my pencil lead is gone, by 26 7/16, and then there it's listed, and then that can be ready to be cut. And we'll get to the next step.
Now what Matt is doing there, he's marking the edges, the factory edges with blue keel. Sometimes we'll overcut a little bit and then we'll cut that factory edge off depending on where it's going. So he's marking all 4 edges, and then the fall off will go into the rack and we know what has a factory edge on it. Okay, Matt's getting ready to fire this up. We've already figured the best cuts for that sheet. So now he's going to cut that sheet up. Okay, so that was just a little demonstration of how we cut up a sheet of plywood. Depending on the sizes, we try to figure out the best way to cut the sheet up to get the most out of the material. So we're going to move on now to banding the shelves. All right, see ya.
Okay, so here we're going to be banding some 3/4 pre-finished adjustable shelves that we cut yesterday. And this is the machine that we use to do it. It can also be done with an iron. It's a heat activated glue backed pre-finished edge tape. It's got glue on this side, so it can be done. You can apply it with an iron. We apply it with this machine. These machines can be purchased if you're going to be doing a lot of these. If you're just doing one or two, it's just probably best to do it with an iron. They're cut. This has got the trimmer. This is the trimmer right here. This is like a industrial kind of blow dryer. I won't pull it out right now because I can't, but blows the hot air onto the glue, and then that's what attaches it. These are our shelves. We use a 3/4 pre-finished domestic plywood, and you'll see right here they're numbered. We number them, so if we can read the number, we're looking at the face right here. So what I do is I pick one of the shelves. So this is B980J. So I know I'm looking at the face. We're going to run it face up. But the first thing I do is I check the back, and I look to see which edge is better. And on this one, I can see that this edge is a little more chewed up. So I'm going to use this edge. So again, I can read it, B980J. And so I'm looking at the face, so it's going to be face up. I get that ready, and then I just tape it. You give it a minute to allow the glue to you give it a minute to allow the glue to start heating up, and then you just keep you don't want to go too fast. You want to allow that glue to heat up, so you get a solid attachment to the plywood. And what I'm doing is I'm looking right here and making sure that I'm keeping it even. I do that by lifting up with this hand, or dropping down with that hand, just so that I don't run off of it. If you're using an iron, you pre-cut it to the length that it needs to be, and you can just lay it on and just iron it. See, we put some marks right here to let us know when to trim the tape. That's how you trim the tape. You give it a good solid whack to cut through it, and you just keep the slow pace till the end. Let that glue get on there real good, and then we press with the face down, turn off the machine, and then we turn it up to really make sure both ends are nice and tight on there. And then we'll show you the trimming next. Okay, hey, we're going to trim the tape on these 3/4 pre-finished adjustable shelves. I like to have a couple of tools. This is old sandpaper from a sand belt. So is this that we put on a piece of plywood so we use up all of our old stuff. Try to reuse whatever we can, use up as much as we can. This is an edge trimmer. If you don't have one of these, they're really good to get. You can get it from our hardware company. And if you don't have one of these, you can just use a razor blade, normal razor blade. I keep this little razor blade because it helps if there's a little extra I need to trim off. And then just your regular sand block to break the edges. So I'll do the first one slowly so you can see the process, and then I'll show the speed that we like to do it at. So we get it like this. At this point it's sat face down and we've really let that glue dry well. I take this end and you just break that till the little tab breaks right off. Flip it around and you do the other side till the tab breaks right off. And then I just kind of ease it a little bit more so it doesn't get hung up on anything. And I use you have little arrows on this, tells you which way to trim it. So then you trim it, and that leaves it pretty nice. You can adjust this thing so that it leaves it pretty nice. If you're not doing it with that, you would use a razor blade kind of in this sort of way, like that. But that leaves it pretty good. If there's a little extra, sometimes I'll just run this over it just to trim off a little of the extra, like I'm doing right there. Then you use your old sand block in kind of a little circular motion, just not like that and not flat like that. You don't want to scratch either of these surfaces up. You just do the edge. And you run your hand over it till it feels smooth, and then you do the other side. What you're doing is you're getting off the little extra glue that sometimes squeezes out. You do it till it looks and feels good. And you grab your regular sand block and you sand with the grain first. This stops it from chipping out on the ends. Then you go against the grain. And then I break the two corners against the grain. Break the two corners. And that one's done, so then I stand it again face out. Now I'll do on the speed that we like to do it at, which is like this. I don't have a dust mask on right now, but it's good to wear a dust mask with this as well. This is a pretty fast thing in a production shop because you have a lot of these to get through. So you go quick, you just quick and accurate. Give it a once over and face it up. And that's it. There you go. Hey, so we just wanted to show if you were to be listing, if you have another shelf you want for your cabinet, or maybe you want to replace your existing shelves, this is how we would just measure it in the field. You've got your inside depth of your cabinet. In the face frame, with the face frame application, what we would do is we take the depth, which is 11, and we deduct a 1/4 inch, making it 10 3/4. And then the length of your shelf, we just measure tight in between the two parts of the cabinet and deduct a 1/16 there. So that's if you're not using a layout rod and you just want to replace some shelves at home. So this is the shelf that we have listed and cut, taped, and finished off. And so we like to check them before we send them out in the field. So we just put it in the cabinet like there. The depth is good and the width is good, and it'll just sit right like that. And that's how it works. And there you go. Have a good one. See you on the next one.
Okay, so that cabinet that he showed at the very end, that was the one that he listed. He was showing at the very beginning of the video that he was listing. Now, he was talking about if you want to measure shelves for your own kitchen, your existing kitchen, they could be different brackets. There could be standard brackets in there, so the measurement might be different. So depending on what you have inside your cabinet, you have to measure accordingly. So all inside of cabinets isn't all the same. So be careful of that. And then you want to break the edges on new shelves. Once they're edge banded, you want to break all the edges with sandpaper and make sure all the edges are soft. You don't want real sharp. They're like razor blades. So you want to be careful with that. And again, he mentioned you can use an iron. If you're just doing a few shelves for yourself, you can buy a little roll of tape at the hardware store and iron it on with an iron. I mean, we did that for years before we got the high-tech machine we got now. No, actually, that's a pretty old machine. It's just worked for us, so we use it. But there are more high-tech machines that work a little better. Alrighty, so that's our adjustable shelf video, and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next video. Alrighty.